Now, I want to say that not all games in this list have come out this year. It's just about the games that I enjoyed most this year, regardless of when they came out. If I played them this year, then it counts for the video of this year. Now, um, I would like for you guys to leave me your top 5 or top 10 if you have one in the comments below. I would like to see what you guys enjoyed a lot this year. Now, of course, Elden Ring, for example, and God of War Ragnarok are not in this list because they came out last year and I started playing them last year. So I'm not putting them in this list. Alright, so at number 10 we have Bloodborne. Now, there's a lot of good things to say about Bloodborne, of course, being a FromSoft game and just a great game in itself. So I'm just going to tell you guys why Bloodborne is on the lowest spot on my list for this year. That is one thing, of course, is the 30 FPS lock. We all know this. Not many of us enjoy it. Uh, the good gems that you can put into your weapons seem to be locked behind multiplayer. Now, what I mean by that is they people share the best challenge dungeons to go and get good gems, but you can only do that if you have PlayStation Online. I'm someone who never buys PlayStation Online, like ever. So I don't have that, and it felt like a handicap to me for like New Game Plus, for example, which I thought was a bit of a shame. Now, another thing with the game that I don't really like is the game feels, even with DLC, kind of short. Like, you can only max out one weapon in a playthrough, pretty much, or two weapons if you're lucky. Uh, I don't know. It's kind of sad because then you have to do New Game Plus cycles to really try out new weapons. I feel like you can't really get them high enough in a single playthrough to test multiple weapons, so you're kind of sticking to one thing right from the start, like I was sticking to the saw cleaver for my whole playthrough pretty much. Number 9, I have a game that you guys might not know of, which is called The Void Rains Upon Her Heart. This is made by one single person. It's on Steam, you can buy it right now. It's, I don't know how much, but it's cheap. And it's totally worth your money. In this game, there are lots of different enemies, and I mean lots, okay? There are 8 hearts, which are the characters that you can play with, so there's also enough variety in that. It has a great art style and music that is very emotional, very catchy. And that is because it's a game with emotional themes to it, to the story. So, if you're not into that, I wouldn't go for this game specifically, but if you don't mind, then I would definitely recommend this one because it's very addicting, it's very fun. It's fast paced, every fight is pretty much a boss fight, and there are a lot of power-ups in the game, a lot of things you can unlock, like the different characters. There are different modes, there's just a tower mode that's been added into the game. This developer is always constantly working and improving the game, and it's just super worth it considering it's only one person making it and considering the price point. Alright, at number 8, I have BlazBlue Entropy Effect. Now, this game won some awards this year, recently, so you guys probably know about it. Doesn't mean you played it, but I have, and I have to say that it has very fast-paced, satisfying combat. I will say that definitely. This game has really fun combat. The cast of characters is nice and diverse as well, with literally, I think tomorrow, as of me recording this video, I'm not sure, a new character dropping. So there are enough characters, they all have a different play style as well, which is very nice. It is a 2D side-scrolling roguelike game, which is something that is right up my alley. But this one specifically, and I haven't played in a few weeks, so I don't know if this has changed with a recent patch, but the final boss of this game, Susano, he feels way too OP. He's like 5 times stronger than any of the other bosses you face. I was not able when I actively played the game to defeat this guy. And I know from other people as well that it's not easy at all. And that is on like normal mode. That's not even hard mode, right? His difficulty ramps up way too hard compared to the other bosses. I hope they fix that if they haven't already. Another thing with this game is that it gets old pretty fast, in my opinion. They have the cast of characters, which is very nice, but there's only a few settings in the game, right? A few areas, and uh, the the enemies that are in there, they're all the same as well, right? So as long as like if you keep doing run after run after run, you just keep seeing the same setting after setting after setting that you pretty much like know what to expect, and the enemies they don't really change either. It's just there's not much variety, is what I'm saying. Uh, Other than that, the game also feels pretty unbalanced, is what I feel like, especially with like the final boss, like I said, and then some other things, some gimmicks that some enemies have. It just feels unbalanced and not fair. Then there's also the entropy uh affecting that you can bring down and that goes up depending on like your choices of rooms. I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of that stuff, but it's definitely a very pretty and fun game to just do runs in every now and then. At number 7, I have one that you probably have heard of at least. It Takes Two. Now, this game, man, I don't know if you played it with, you know, your girlfriend or your boyfriend. I think it's a different experience than if you play it with a friend, for example. But here's the only negative side of this game, right? If you play with your girlfriend, there's a very good chance of your girlfriend raging, maybe even rage quitting. All right? Now, all everyone who's played this game with their girlfriend knows what I'm talking about. But this game is really, really good, and I cannot recommend it enough. If you even just want to play it with a friend, for example, or a sibling, this game has a very nice length. It doesn't feel too long. It definitely doesn't feel too short. The story is very good. You wanna, you know, as far as this type of game stories go, right? You wanna know what's going to happen to the characters. You wanna know if they resolve their issue. I'm not going to spoil it. And so you keep logging in the next day and the next day to play through another beautiful and creative story. The gameplay is really good. You really, really need each other. It doesn't matter if one of you is a god gamer and the other one has never picked up a controller before. You really need to work together. There's no other way to get through the levels. And that makes it very nice because it makes it so you don't leave the other one behind. And so that the weaker one of you two can grow with your help. And I think that's how this game is developed, right? Because I think it's mainly developed for couples. And it's really fun. It's really, really fun. I really recommend this game. At number 6, I have one that's old but gold. Shadow of War. This game has done a lot for my channel, honestly. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've had a lot of interactions with comments as well as on TikToks thanks to this game. It's a really, really good game that still holds up, even graphic-wise for the most part. It still holds up. Uh, this game has a very interesting story. You always want to know what happens next, I feel like, especially if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings universe. It's a very lively world that has tons of quests because orcs kind of appear or you know they go crazy. You can initiate your own quests by sending one of your orcs after a different orc. There's the arena. There's so many things that makes this game world really feels alive and makes you want to mess with these orcs basically. Now, I will say that the combat system feels a little bit outdated. It feels fun, but it feels like, you know, an older game system. Let's just put it that way. Uh, but that doesn't make it less fun. It can just be a little clunky sometimes. For an example, once I did a move that got me stuck behind some rocks, and I was literally losing my raid. It was an online raid because I was stuck behind rocks. Until after like 10 minutes of spamming buttons, I magically got out of it. So, another, and this is like, I guess the reason I quit the game, even though I had so much fun with it, is that it can be really repetitive because at the end of the day, when you're done with story, you're kind of just doing the same things. You're messing around with orcs, and It is fun, but it does get repetitive. There's only so much you can do, right? Alrighty, at number 5, I have one that you all know of, Honkai Star Rail. Now, here's the thing with Honkai Star Rail, right? I have it at number 5 because, yes, Honkai Star Rail has amazing graphics, okay? It runs very, very well, even on the phone. It has very fun, beautiful, creative, cool characters. It has plenty of things to do, but as many positive things as I can say about the game, I did finally quit the game, and no, not for good. I will come back. Of course I will. Gacha games are very addictive. But the reason I quit is mainly because of the gacha system. Because if you're not spending a lot of money, you're not getting every banner character that you want. I'm not saying you need to have every single character that's unnecessary, but the ones that are really cool to you, if you're not spending a lot of money, you won't even be getting those. And when I lost my pity and I pulled a dupe instead of the new character from I think last banner, I was like, all right, I went all the way to pity just to get a dupe character, and I already didn't get the banner character before that. I already didn't get my favorite character in the game, which is Blade. So it just the gacha system kinda it got to me at the end of the game, you know. Yeah, I had a great time with Honkai Star Rail, but like all gacha games, the gacha system itself kind of makes it salty eventually, and that's a big shame. I feel like this game, yes, of course, they wouldn't have made or make as much money as they do if it wasn't a gacha game, but I just feel like it would have been a lot better if it wasn't. Like a lot more fun for people, especially people that don't have money to spend. Another thing with the game is that the end game uh, difficulty is pretty insane. Like Mirror, just recent content that dropped in recent patches. If you don't have your characters at 80 and really, really good gear on them, then you're not really beating that stuff. It's a shame. And that also ties back to the gacha system itself, right? If you are missing a certain character from a certain element, like ice, for example, then you're not going to do anything against the stage that needs ice to clear it. It's kind of sad, but it's a very, very good game, which is why I still put it at number 5. It was my favorite game for a long time during this year. Now, at number 4, I have Lies of P. Now, you might be thinking, Lies of P, well, either you're someone who thinks it's overrated, or you're someone who thinks it should be higher up on this list. And I agree with the second. It should probably be higher up on this list. I'm just going to get the negative out of the way. The reason that it's not higher up on the list is one is a personal issue, which is that I guess my computer is too much of a potato, but the game doesn't run very well. Even on the lowest settings, if I run the game while recording it, I lag, and you do not want to lag in a game that needs timing to survive. So that kind of killed the game for me. It got very, very annoying. Another thing is that they might have patched this now, I'm not sure, but that New Game Plus felt way harder than it should be, unless you over leveled in your first playthrough, which I didn't. I was the normal level that you should be when you start a New Game Plus cycle, and I absolutely could not get past like chapter 3. So yeah, those are the negatives about Lies of P. Now, obviously positive things are you have the merging of weapon pieces. It's a very interesting system. It's new, it's fun. You have cool bosses and enemies, also pretty good enemy variety. The game looks great. In my case, it didn't, but I've seen how amazing the game can look on like a PlayStation or very good PCs. It has a very smart combat system as well, where it kind of mixes Bloodborne and Sekiro in one, and it's very, very fun and interesting, especially for Soulsborne players. So, yeah, I had a blast with the game. It's just a shame that, honestly, mainly the lag is what killed my fun with the game. It's a game I might go back to. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how it goes. Now we have reached my top 3. Now at number 3, I have Death Must Die. Now you might think, why? Why on earth would you put this here? Now listen, it might be because it's still very new. But the thing is, when I booted up this game, I was like, hell yeah. At first I wasn't sure if I was gonna even like the game. And then I booted it up. I hadn't even played yet, right? And I'm like, hell yeah. Because it has such an old Diablo feel to it. Like the gameplay is so Diablo 2 like. It's just amazing, especially after the big fumble that Diablo 4 is. You know what I mean? It's really really nostalgic. There are many combos in the game thanks to the Hades-like system that they put in. I don't think it's as good as Hades, that system, but I think it's very very good for copy paste, right? What they also added, which you don't have in Hades, for an example, or in other games of this genre, is the gear system, and that's very interesting because the gear system also allows you to do different things, just like the abilities that you choose do. So it's kind of two of those systems that make every run feel different if you want it to. It has very addictive gameplay. I don't think I need to, tell that to anyone. Bullet Heavens just have very addictive gameplay. That's why that Vampire Survivors game got so popular. And I think this is so much better, by the way. Like in every aspect, it's so much better, and I would really recommend you to try this if you haven't yet. The only downside I can see about this game, and it's a big one, and it would drop this game definitely way down this list, is that it can be repetitive. You have 5 classes as well, which is nice. But here's the thing. If they if the devs are going to be lazy and they're not going to add new maps and new classes to play or characters to play, then this game is going to get really repetitive because you're always playing the same map, the same bosses, the same enemies, and the same characters. And everyone will stop playing this game. So they need to do what Vampire Survivors did, which is add new maps and new characters in. If they can just do that at a reasonable pace, then this game, I'm sure, will have a lot more players and will live far longer than we think it will, because I really, really think it's a very good game. Alrighty, boys. At number 2, I have Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I just got this game. I wasn't even making the list yet when I got it, but I had to put it in the list because man, it's good. I just bought it because it was on a sale and I was bored and I was like, okay, it's time for me to try this game because back when it came out, I heard so much good stuff about it. Uh, so I went ahead and got it. Now I'm only in chapter 3, almost chapter 4, I think. So I can't speak yet on like the full story and things like that, but what I can definitely see is that this game got me hooked because it has very lively cast of characters. They're all interesting, they're cool, they all have their own thing going on. It makes them feel really human instead of just NPCs, right? Like Barrett has a daughter, for example, and then he gets angry at Cloud for like scaring her, things like that. It just makes them feel more human than just like playable characters. It has an interesting story. Like I said, I guess I've just been scratching the surface of the story, but I think it's already interesting how Cloud sees this guy from his past and Tifa isn't really on board with what they're doing, things like that. It's interesting. I want to know more, right? So I keep playing. The combat system is another reason why I keep playing the game. The combat system is really smooth, really cool. I always enjoy that system of learning a skill with a specific weapon or, you know, any new skill that you might get, and then it's yours. Then you can use it however you want. I always enjoyed that system. I think it makes you do side quests just to learn the abilities. Whereas otherwise in games like this, I just skip side quests because why would I? Um, it has very beautiful graphics, of course. This is a game that, unlike all the others, well, except for It Takes Two, this is a game I've been playing on my PlayStation, and it's just a normal PlayStation 4, but the graphics look really good. The FPS isn't too bad either. The only thing that's bad, at least right now, that I would say is bad about this game is the camera angle. I've played around with it a lot, but I can't quite get it how I want it to be. The camera is kind of always, well, maybe not always, but a lot of the time it's not where I need it to be, especially with flying enemies. So if anyone has a tip for that, I would, love to hear it. Now we have reached number one, my favorite game that I played this year, and it's not even close. All right, it's not even close. Sea of Stars. Now listen, before you click off the video, if you made it all the way here, if you haven't tried this game, but you like this style of games, please give it a try, because it is the best, most astonishing pixel art that you've ever seen in any game. I will promise you that. Alright? Screenshots, trailers, whatever you've seen, just know that there is more and even cooler stuff than those sneak peeks that you've already seen. Alright? Let me tell you that. Second of all, it has a fun, diverse cast of characters. Same like with the previous game on my list. They all feel lively, they all feel human, they all feel just fun to be around. It's like you're a part of their party. They're all very interesting characters that you want to see grow throughout the story. There is plenty of enemy variety, okay? That's a thing that I guess we were kind of iffy about when this game was about to come out, but it has a lot of enemies, and they're very fun as well. Now, if you played the Messenger, there's some Easter eggs, I guess, about the Messenger in this game as well. So there is that. Uh, the combat system is old school, which is good, but it's also an interactive type of combat, which I think is really nice. Like when you, for example, throw the lunar boomerang, you have to keep hitting the button at the right time so the boomerang can keep bouncing. Or with the sun attack you're doing, you have to hold the button down to charge the sun attack, and it's like that with pretty much every move you do except for like specials. You have to put in more buttons to do something with it or to make it better, more powerful, make it last longer, have it have a second effect even when it comes to like weakness breaking enemies. It's a really good game. I really would urge you to try it, unless you're not into pixel games or JRPGs at all. Then of course you should maybe try a different game that's on my list. But this game has been by far the best one I've played all year. It's an amazing game. The only downside is that I want more. Um, it's not that the story um, feels too short or anything, but it's just like I want more. Please give me more. DLC or free update, anything. I want more. Please let me play the game more. So I might come back to this game in the near future to play it again or maybe to play through NG Plus, but it has been a journey. It really has been. Really amazing game. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made this far into the video, please don't forget to give me your top 5 or top 10. And of course, feel free to give your opinion on my list. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.